Hey guys, Kitty here. This will be my portion of the video, and I want to start out by saying that while we don't want anyone to go and harass anyone mentioned in this video, we do think that Miguel should be held responsible for his actions. This doesn't mean that we need anyone to go and attack him, but that rather professionals are involved in some way. Now let's begin. So I was in a group chat with a lot of other people on DeviantArt, and Miguel was part of this group chat. Throughout the group chat, we would just talk about random things on DeviantArt and other stuff going on in our lives. And I began to notice that Miguel and another member of the group chat were calling each other babe and talking to each other very sweetly. And I was under the impression that the person that Miguel was talking to was a child. And so I went and I asked him, I made sure. I was like, hey, how old are you? And he told me he was 14. And I went, and as you can see in Miguel's bio, he's 25. And I'll show you the post. So here's my post addressing the original situation, and I talk about it in full here. And this is the very beginning of what happened when I first spoke out about it. As you can see here, this is him confirming that he is 25 years old. This is the other person confirming that they're 14. Here's the evidence of them being in a relationship. And here is the confirmation from the victim saying that they had sent sexual messages. Here is my post of a Bluey character who I had named Applesauce. And then out of nowhere, he came with that. Now we will get into the portion of my bit where I talk about my interactions with him over on Twitter. So here on Twitter, I posted a joke saying that is the definition of being fat jerking off to pizza commercials, because I do that. And underneath this, he responded with, could jerk off on you, which just came out of nowhere. It was definitely not something that I wanted to hear. Here are some of his DMs to me. We were talking about me doing a request for him, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do this request. And then he just smacked my butt. Asterisk. This is me telling him my age on my birthday. So he knew that I was 17 when he sent all of these sexual messages to me. This is him talking about the victim. At the time, the victim had asked me to make some art of his character as an emo. And I obliged, I made the art. And then Miguel commented on it, saying, I don't think he's like that anymore. I responded with, well, he asked me to make this. And so he said, okay, he and I are both muscular and thick, which I responded with, that's a weird thing to say, because it's a weird thing to say. And then he said, sorry, but we're both muscular. And then I replied with, dude, that came out of nowhere. Why tell me this? Why does it matter? How does it relate to what we were talking about? And that really set him off. And so he yelled at me, but I stood my ground, because I was a really strange thing to say. Here is the entire conversation of me confronting him about it. You can go ahead and slow it down if you need to. This deleted message right here was him saying asterisk, pulls out a gun, asterisk. Alright, now let's get into the favorites. If you don't know, on DeviantArt, there is a section on your profile where you can look at everything that they have favorited. So this is me scrolling through all of that. Trigger warning for all kinds of fetish art. If you don't want to see that, then please click away. Everything that is branded as NSFW is blurred. Yeah. Alright guys, I won't torture you with having to look at this anymore. This concludes my portion of the video. Goodbye.
you.